Nobody wants to sit through a 10-minute speech and leave wondering what the purpose was. It is your job as a speaker to make sure that your audience understands what they should be getting out of your message and how it's going to benefit their life. Your purpose should be very clear from the beginning to the very end of your speech. Some speakers get so caught up in elocution or how they say it or their delivery and wanting to sound very fancy that they get so caught up in the words, they forget to be clear in their communication. Good communication gets my thoughts transferred through symbols to your ears or your eyes and into your thoughts very clearly. The goal is to have clarity in our speaking. Now, I like some of the fancy flair that goes into good speaking, and I think that's important to try this semester, but never sacrifice clarity for creativity. Okay, I want you to be creative. I want you to come up with cool ways to say things, but don't do so at the sacrifice of clarity. Seek clarity. So our goal now is to learn how to write good purpose and thesis statements so that our audience clearly knows why they are listening to us. Your purpose is the outcome of the speech. What do you want to happen as a result of your speech? What do you want the audience to know? What do you want them to think? What do you want them to feel? Or what do you want them to do after listening to your speech? If they're there just simply to clap at the end, it's sort of a pointless speech. You should have in your mind, I want them to know this thing, I want them to think this thing, I want them to feel this way, or I want them to go and do this thing. And keep that goal a focus throughout your speech, throughout the time you prepare and deliver your speech. Having a good, clear purpose for your speech helps you in a variety of ways. First, it helps you to make good rhetorical decisions. It helps you to write the speech well. It helps you to know how to prepare for the occasion. It helps you to know how to establish credibility, how to adapt to your particular audience. It also helps you to know what organizational pattern to use for your speech. Okay, so taking time to sit down and clearly know what do I want my audience to know, feel, do, or think after this speech will help you save a lot of time in the speech writing process. Having a clear purpose also helps you as a speaker. It makes your audience trust you more. If they can feel from the very beginning that they know what your intent is, and they can see you trying to accomplish that intent, first of all, they're going to hop on board and try to help you achieve that intent. And second of all, they're going to feel like they can trust you a little bit more. Second way that it can help you is it can help you to build a relationship that is sincere with your audience. Because they feel like you're not trying to manipulate them, helps them feel like they can build a real relationship with you. The other way that it can be helpful for you to have a clear purpose statement is it can help to calm your nerves. There may be times in your speech, there will be times while you're giving speeches when you forget what you're trying to say, where for whatever reason your mind goes blank and you struggle to remember exactly what you had prepared. The good thing about knowing generally what your purpose is, you can let go of the feeling that you have to remember everything you prepared and just shift over and talk about your purpose. So anytime you have a clear purpose, it helps you to have more comfort as you're talking to your audience. So how do you determine your purpose? Well, in this class, I will tell you what your purpose is for every speech. Every time I'm giving you a speech assignment, you'll see at the very top what the purpose is. So for example, we'll do an informative speech. Your purpose is to inform your audience about a topic. We'll do a persuasive speech where your purpose is to persuade your audience. But when you go out and give speeches to the general public, you might have to consider this question yourself. You may also have to ask whoever is asking you to speak what their intent is before you determine what your purpose is. Keep in mind that your purpose is not the same thing as your private goal. You should have a broad general purpose and perhaps to have some more smaller personal goals that fit within that broader general purpose. Here are 4 broad categories that we tend to look at when it comes to purposes for speeches. So speaking to inform, which is simply I want my audience to understand something more or better than they already do. Speaking to persuade, I want my audience to believe something differently or do something differently than they have. Speaking to entertain might be simply I want to amuse them or interest them or help them to have a good time. And speaking to inspire might be that I want to bring people together. I want to help them have some unity, or maybe simply build certain emotions within my audience. Every speech should have a clear purpose or thesis statement. Now, a thesis statement is hopefully not new. You probably have written them in your English papers before. A purpose or thesis statement is a single declarative statement that demonstrates the main argument or the purpose of the speech. Okay? So a single declarative statement, meaning you should have one statement or a sentence that declares something. It should not simply be a vague statement. It should have some sort of declaring or claim within it, okay, that demonstrates the main argument. So your purpose should establish that you have some sort of achievable goal, and it should be relevant to your audience needs. This is going to take some practice, and we will do some of this in class where we will practice writing thesis statements. But the goal is to write a thesis statement that is broad enough that includes the needs that your audience members have, but specific enough that you can fit within your allotted time period. Okay, that's the difficult thing for writing thesis statement. So a thesis statement should be broad enough that you can pull in enough of your audience members, but small enough that you can get it done, that you can accomplish the whole purpose within your allotted time period. So for example, here's a couple of ineffective and more effective purpose statements. Ineffective here might be a little bit too vague. Today my goal is to teach you how to maintain your health. That's a really broad topic. That could mean anything. You can maintain your health by eating better, by exercising better, by having better relationships. It's a little bit too broad. So we want something more specific that declares something. So today my goal is to talk about how to use government's new food group recommendations in appropriate portions to improve your overall health. Okay? Or maybe earthworms aerate soil, fertilize gardens, create composite, and can provide a rich source of food protein. You can see how these effective ones are single statements, but they're full sentences. They make a claim, so they're declarative statements, and they tell you, the audience, what my purpose is. Here is what I'm trying to do. Okay? So the first one might be a persuasive speech. I'm trying to get you to use this new food group recommendation, and I'm going to teach you how to do it. The second one might be more informative. I'm simply trying to get you some information on earthworms. Throughout every speech, including your introduction speech this semester, I want you to think, what is my thesis? What is my purpose statement? And be able to articulate it in one single sentence. Later, when I teach you how to write outlines, I'm going to ask you to write your purpose and your thesis statement at the very top of the outline so that I know that you know what the purpose is of each speech.